Hi, this is Ashley Bell. Today we're going to look at Chapter 1.8, which is emphasis and focal point, and we'll also look at subordination. Okay, so first, the principle of emphasis. What I want you to really consider when we talk about emphasis, as it says right here, it's the broad area within an artwork, meaning there's multiple areas with specific points that can be emphasized. So look at this one. We actually call this a broad emphasis, and that's because this watercolor of blue on paper with these little, like, you can see the dotted or broken lines. That's a drawn out grid. They used black ink, and it just really flattens the image, but the look of water underneath the grid is sort of relaxing to look at. And the artist wanted this to be a meditative piece. They did not want any particular area to stand out more than the other. So this is an extreme of emphasis. It's called broad emphasis. And then let's look at Jacob Lawrence's work for emphasis as well. So he wanted all of the two rows of figures in the back, I think they're mostly men, to be unified. And to do that, he wanted to emphasize a large area of this image by kind of like moving around. Like if you look at the red in the pants, the red here on the gun, or the yellow buttons and the yellow shirt and the yellow jacket and the yellow gloves, moving the colors around, it helped to unify the different figures. If you could imagine, say, this figure was an entire red and this one's entire green, we would start to break each person up as an individual, but that's not what the artist wants. He wants us to see them again together, and so he's emphasizing them as a whole. And so that's a great example of emphasis. So in contrast to emphasis, let's talk about a focal point. So here the artist has tools. They use the elements or principles of art in a way in which there's a specific area in the emphasis that is distinguishable. It is the most important detail of the artwork. So let's look at the painting here, the Coronation of the Virgin Mary. Most of us, our eyes are just going to go, it's just north of the center of the painting, to this kind of almond shape with that blue, that greenish blue and the pink in the middle. And it's because of where it's located and because of the color contrast that we go to that location in the painting. And that is the most important. If we're reading the title, we know that the coronation, that event, is what is the most significant, aspect of this painting. Okay? Now here the focal point is really kind of recognizable because he's, excuse me, let me go back. He is here and there's nothing really else around him. He's floating in the sky. Well, actually he's falling from the sky, but he's colorful. He's kind of outlined in this black in some areas of his body, where if you look at the rest of the sky, it does not have that much detail. So he stands out against the sky. And then when we look at where he's falling to, the figures down below and the buildings and the animals, it's so busy and it's so congested that it's too much to say that there's a focal point down there. But we do think about where he is in the sky and where he's going to fall, and that's where our eyes move. Okay, now subordination is really important in order for an artist to have a focal point. There has to be an area that is less, if we're talking about hierarchy, it is like at the bottom of that. So let's go back. When we look at Icarus, that outside of this, we look at the sky, because it doesn't have all the detail and the color like you see in him, it becomes subordinate to the man falling from the sky. So in this image we have a focal point, and everyone in my class, they always say it's the man with the red shirt, and that is, the artist wanted you to believe that he is the focus. But if you read the title, you'll see that there's, again, it's Icarus, and here he is drowning. He'd fallen from the sky and he's drowning. but he is subordinate to the man in the red because the man in the red stands out to us, where he is almost not even, noticeable. He just blends in because he's subordinate. And why would the artist do that? Why not make the main character the focal point? It's because he has a message, and his message is things happen in life, like people drowning, getting sick, or all of these things that we don't want to happen, they happen. But what we have to do day by day is focus on what we're responsible for and do our work, such as the man in the red shirt is plowing the field. Okay, here's another example of subordination. Most of us would agree that that mouse on the double-chambered vessel is the focal point because he's so detailed. We can see the head, the eye, the ears, the arms, and the feet, and all of that with the pattern. He's just more intricate, so we're going to give him more of our attention. And that's because there are subordinate areas, like the areas that have no pattern, or even if they do have pattern, they don't have as many details in the form like you see carved out to make the mouse. So the rest of the vessel, like I said, it is subordinate to the mouse. Okay, and we're going to stop there.